Welcome to the Instant Payments Podcast. I'm your host, Tal Clark, CEO of Instant Financial, and we're back for part two of our conversation with Laura McLand, the VP of HR for Sun Holdings, one of the largest restaurant groups in the U.S. with more than 30,000 employees. Laura, thanks again for being a guest on the show. I think we covered a lot of really good ground in the first part of this session, this podcast. Let's jump right back in and talk more about HR trends in the restaurant industry. We'll talk a little bit more about earned wage access and digital tipping, just in generically. What have you heard directly from team members about getting their tips and wages quickly without fees? Have you seen it influence satisfaction or retention within the workplace?
Absolutely. It's extremely important that they're able to get those tips immediately. So even on the same day or in the same evening, you're able to get those tips and they see it immediately. What's also really nice is that, now it's not just a card. So many, archaic was everybody had a card and would always have to use that or wait till a check or get cash at the end of the night. And so this is much easier because in instant, you're able to use an app and tap it on your phone. You don't even need a card. And so this where we're going in the future is where does that entail? Are we going to be moving to wearable cards, where they're called and things like that. So I think that's where we're gravitating toward is, just even instant as the tips are created or paid out, even those that can be available to the employees as needed.
Yeah, you and I are both aware. I've been around it for a while. The old days, and I mean, it still is happening, right? When you have plastics in the restaurants, which I was talking to a group today, and we started doing that 25 years ago in a program that I helped start, right? 25 years ago, we were putting plastics in restaurants for cars. You would think that we need to evolve that at this point, right? And so we are doing that, and you're right, right? Plastics aren't required anymore, right? You can have your phone, you can have it on your Apple Watch, you can do whatever you need to do. So yeah, that's an evolution in the space that we're really excited about leading because it just, to me, again, it's always for 25 years we've been delivering plastics to restaurants, and that's just not necessary anymore.
You're right. Well, you'll always have those that want something tangible. They're old school and they don't believe it until they feel it in their hands. There's going to be some of those.
Yeah.
But I also kind of envision, kind of the Jetsons. Okay, how can we get to there? We're already there. If you watch that program, you can already see a lot of those things we already do today. But I know that that's going to continue to evolve over the next, 10, 20 years as we watch things change.
Yeah, that's crazy. And actually, you're right. I mean, I think the Jetsons, the thing I remember from the Jetsons is flying cars. And believe I've got a little bit of interest in aviation, and so flying cars are not that far away. Believe it or not, they're out there, which is crazy. I think once we get there, we will have completed the Jetsons journey, probably, Laura.
I agree.
So that's good. Let's talk about, one of the challenges always in the restaurant space is retention and turnover. Talk about that in as much detail as you want to with Sun Holdings, what that looks like for you guys, just kind of where it is in the market today. I know that it was tougher coming out of COVID. Maybe it's a little bit better now. So talk about where you see the trends in the restaurant industry as a whole, and then maybe for Sun Holdings.
Oh, it's so important. I mean, just in the hospitality industry, you're going to have high turnover. And that's because of different kinds of jobs. People go into the restaurant industry, usually for short term anyway. It's not normally a career role. So a couple of things that we've done is number one, be able to frame it so that it could be a career. It's somebody gets into it and they may find that they absolutely love it. And so we want to encourage that and say, yes, you actually can be a GM or even go up higher above that. But then also, what does our turnover look like? We want to be able to retain employees because that turnover is, of course, expensive. And so we put some tools already in place over the last 2 years that helps with that retention. Our retention has dropped 20%, which is huge in hospitality. And part of it is because we're giving them instant payments, whereas before it was a card. The direct deposit aspect, but also employee engagement. That's really important to us. It's going to be a high focus for us in 2026 is in encouraging employee engagement. What does that look like? And be able to work with each other as long as, you know, they see each other every day. It's more of a family during the day, right? Sometimes you see people, your coworkers, more than you actually see your own family. And so we want to make that a positive experience when they come into work, something to look forward to. And then also continue throughout the day and through their shifts, throughout the weeks and year.
Yeah, yep. So you've seen improvement then based on some of those steps out over the last 2 or 3 years?
Absolutely.
Okay,
And we're continuing to do that for sure.
super. And anything new that you've got planned over 2026? What does it look like for you in 2026? Any projects that, you wanna reveal to us today that's gonna either help with financial wellness or retention or anything else that you got going on?
Absolutely. We're always evolving constantly. And so our big push, like I just mentioned in 2026, of course, is going to be part of it employee engagement is education. So how to be able to work with guests, make it a positive guest experience, how to handle a guest that maybe isn't having a good day, you know, how to turn those things around. Also giving them resources on, you know, how to roll out different menu items, you know, how to discuss those to new people. You know, some people are comfortable talking about something that is a new menu item, and some aren't. So working through some of that, it's going to be on app, by the way. So we've already started implementing that, and that's going to be our 2026 goal is
Okay.
putting all of that in their hands on an app that's going to be interactive. And so it's going to be engaging. That's going to be our focus. We already rolled out in the payroll system, rolled out the benefits at the end of last year. And so that's going to be our focus and is training and development this year.
Okay. Well, that's outstanding, and, well, good. So when you were looking at making changes to pay, making changes to provide instant pay and instant tips, um, what were the conversations like internally? Did, because it was new at the time, right? And some of the things we were doing were new. How did you convince the rest of your organization to come along for this ride, whether it was your CEO or CFO, and because I know you guys sort of make decisions as a team over there. What were those conversations like?
Well, we always try to do things where we roll it out with one brand first. And so in this particular instance, we did roll it out with one brand first. And we tested it first and said, okay, this is something that is going well with this brand. Let's go ahead and roll it out to all of our other brands. But that's what's really important is trying to focus on what works, what doesn't, before we end up rolling that out on something such as pay cards. And that's what we'll continue to do in 2026 is also that same exact thing is that we're doing, you know, platforms that are brand focused first and then be able to roll it out to all the other brands. And that's what makes this unique too, is that we're able to do that. And we target it based on the type of service that we want to offer to our employees. We started with a specific brand, keeping that in mind. Let's go with the complexity. Let's try to pick a brand that maybe is going to test us a little bit so that we work out all the kinks before we roll it out across all the other
Yeah.
companies.
Well, that's good. That's good. And well, and I think that that is something that we'll learn from as well as we go forward, right? Because one of the things in the space that we want to make sure we're communicating is at the executive level, right? It's connecting. And you mentioned a while ago, you mentioned, I don't know if these are your exact words, but sort of living where your employees live, understanding where they are. And I think you guys, and you specifically do a great job of that. And because that's a gap I find when talking to other executive leadership. They don't quite get the need for access and the need for these solutions that are available now that maybe weren't available 5 years ago. Um, how would you communicate to a hypothetical, new CEO about the value of these benefits to employees?
Well, you know, I would hope a CFO, you know, would understand, of course, the financial aspects of why it's so important to get money into the hands of the employees immediately. And, you know, rolling out a new system or a new program, you know, we always do our ROI. We always do the analysis ahead of time, of course,
Yeah.
from the financial perspective so that they can see the hard dollars and the soft dollars of what incorporates some of the projects that we roll out. but also I do deliver how this impacts the employee individually, because we do have to keep that in mind. Just like in HR, that's our customer. And so we want to make sure that we don't lose sight of who that is. And just like in operations, they focus on the guests. We have that's half of the equation, but the other half of the equation is, of course, the employees. And if the employees weren't there, we wouldn't all be here, right? And that's the thing, with our departments. If we work here, we wouldn't have employees either because it wouldn't get paychecks and things like that. So as I talk to operations, it's a partnership. We rely on each other so that we can provide the best customer service that we can for all of our restaurants.
100%. That is so good to hear, and that is, you know what? Because if your employees are doing well and enjoying their work, then you're more than likely going to have happy customers as well, right? So,
Exactly right.
so that's outstanding. You touched on AI just briefly a while ago. Let's go back to that just for a minute. I'm curious to hear if you all are using AI or other specific technologies or automations to sort of help streamline your operations. Can you tell us maybe what that tech is and what you're evaluating in that area?
Absolutely, and all the time. I'm definitely a chat GBT and all those users too. I'll kind of sneak over there and use that sometimes. But we do, of course, we have it in recruiting. So that definitely helps us get in the resumes, just kind of do a cursory look. But we still have some eyes on that as well. I don't want AI to take that over. I want it to be a tool. And that's what I tell all the employees in our department is that AI is a tool, but we are right up at the very beginning. And I definitely see that it's definitely going to blossom as we go forward. The other thing that we're definitely, so we rolled that out last year
Okay.
on the recruiting side of things. And then now we just rolled it out on the payroll side of things with the new software that we just implemented. And what's really important is now that we have it, how do we use it? And we know it has these capabilities. We also want to stretch this software. So we want to say, hey, I know it can do these, but let's see what else it can do. And part of that is that AI function. And so as I'm showing the software to all of our brand leaders, I'm typing in things in there and showing them the AI aspect of it. And they're like, oh, it didn't even occur to me that it could even do something like
Yeah.
that. And so what's really nice is, typical softwares, you have to be very specific when you look for different things in there. Whereas this tool, I'm able to type in who is the GM and my Applebee's in Ohio, and it is able to populate that. And which makes it much easier to use, much quicker. And I know that we'll definitely be able to roll out in some of our training that we're going to be bringing out in the future.
Okay. Well, it's outstanding to see you guys making use of those tools and continue to evolve and move Sun Holdings forward. Um, let's end with a round of rapid fire questions, if you don't mind. And
Out there.
they may be rapid fire, but we can expand on these if we want to. So, is there a habit or routine that you follow every day?
I want to learn something every day.
Kurt?
That's my whole focus. It may be something on LinkedIn. It may be a 5-minute podcast. It may be, some trying to learn a little bit of a new language where it's a new word, but that's my goal every single day is to learn something new. Every day.
Outstanding. That's a great one, Laura. What is one book or podcast that you would recommend reading or listening to?
That's a great question. And I don't have one up the top of my head.
Okay.
I read so many different ones when I have time. I do work many, many hours. And so I really don't have one to focus right now. One focus podcast or one focus book that I'm reading. I finished one, but it was last year. So I'll have to get back with you on
Okay,
that.
well, let's adjust that. Do you watch any Netflix or Amazon Prime or anything like that? Any show you're watching now?
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, I had to watch, but some of the Texas-based ones, so Landman, like no backyard. So I have to watch a little bit of that.
That's
for
great.
sure.
Yeah, Landman is pretty good. I'm behind on that actually. So, that's a good one. What is your favorite menu item across all of the brands at Sun Holdings? We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings there, but I think it's fair for you to pick one.
Oh, I can definitely do that. So what's really nice at corporate is I know what the new menu items are coming out, so sometimes we get to taste them ahead of time. I will have to give a huge plug right at the moment. Don't tell the other brands, but Uncle Julio's, newest Guadalajara fajitas and bacon ranch shrimp. Oh my gosh, you got to try it. It's
Golly, that
absolutely
sounds great. I don't know if I have Uncle Julio's local. I'm gonna have to look that up next time I'm there, maybe. So
definitely check it out.
uh,
It's fantastic.
that sounds great. Last, what professionally speaking are you most excited about for Sun Holdings in 2026?
Gosh, what are we most excited about in 2026? We're going to be bringing on probably new entities. That's what we're excited about. Is what is the future going to be? So you never know what's going to come down the pipe, but I have a feeling there's definitely going to be some new things that we're going to see in 2026, new brands and things that
That's
are going to.
Yeah, they always keep you hopping over there because you guys are definitely bringing in new businesses and brands at a great pace. So good. Well, Laura, thanks so much for joining us. This has been fun. Really enjoyed catching up on the Instant Payments podcast. You have so much hands-on experience that I know this will be valuable for other leaders across the hospitality industry. To our listeners, you can learn more about Laura's work at sunholdings.net and follow along with new podcast episodes at instant.co/podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. Laura, thanks again. And thanks to all of our listeners for tuning in to the Instant Podcast.